Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel, I hope you're doing well. Today we're going to have a look at this very nice 2016 Ford Fiesta ST3 that I actually happened to buy from a subscriber. We bought it through our car buying services, carsboughtformore.com, and funnily enough this chap also tried to offer this to James at Chop's Garage, but James didn't want it because it has got some modifications which actually are very minor, and they're factory modifications. It's got an MP215 kit on there, which is quite desirable really, and was fitted by a Ford main dealer. But either way, this car has been off the road for 2 years in the process while this previous owner has been trying to get some things sorted out and get it sold, which means it's only on 30,500 miles, and we got it for a really good price. So let's take a look around this car and let's get it out on the road. So I bought this car from a subscriber, Sean, who, it's quite a long story really, but basically someone had left this car at his house. They'd stayed with him, couldn't pay him for having stayed there. They left the car in lieu of payment, but there was also some money left to pay off. So he went through a good, I think 18 months of trying to figure out how he would pay off the remaining balance to free up the car in order to be able to sell it and get back what he wanted. And it took someone like us really kind of being able to give him a hand, because he was, I think when he tried to sell it to James at Chops, he didn't currently have the V5, and he had documents etc from the finance company saying that yes, he'd paid off the car etc, but I did say to him, look, I'll buy it off you for a price that we agreed, but you do need to go and get that V5 sorted out. Told him how to do it, do a V62 application, which he did. And funny enough, I was about to get in touch with Sean to be like, what's happened? Did you get rid of it, or did you still have it? And he actually called me and said he's got the V5 now, and he came down the same afternoon with the car. So as I say, since about 2021, it's been sat up while it was kind of in this limbo of getting paid for, not being used. But since he's got the payment cleared, they'd accepted that he can pay it, clear it off, and he'll be the legal owner. He's done new tyres on it, I think he's had it serviced, he's done new brakes, which I think have probably rusted up a little bit again. But on the whole, it's a really nice low mileage example. It's only 30,448 as we're driving along at the moment, which is nothing for one of these. I usually get absolutely hammered. So when he told me he only wanted £9,000 for it, I practically snapped his hand off, although we did end up giving him 9.5 for it. He'd had a couple of bits done, and I thought it was only fair that we gave him a little bit more. So an absolute steal really. Bit of a risk in a sense, because it was this kind of whole finance cobweb of maze of what was going on, but we've got it all sorted now, and we've got this absolutely cracking little car. The first thing you notice about driving one of these ST Fiestas is how bumpy they are. Toby is in the passenger seat next to me, and his head is bouncing around like he's a jack-in-the-box. They're pretty firm. I don't think you'd want to do lots of long journeys in them, but it does help them feel really sporty and fun. They're just not the most comfortable in the world. And the seats are pretty firm as well. Yes, they're comfortable. Yes, they really hug you, especially if you're on the chunkier side like me, but they're pretty firm. So this isn't like some kind of German luxurious, barge. It's well, it's a sporty little hot hatch, isn't it? Obviously these are normally 180 brake horsepower, hence why they're called the ST180. But this one has, as I say, had the Mountune MP215 kit fitted. So I don't even know for sure, but I assume that means it's 215 horsepower. I assume it comes with some kits. I don't know what physically is on there. I should have done the research on here, but as you know, I don't do research. And they also do a tune as well. At any Ford dealership, they put this tune onto the ECU, and it is like a factory upgrade. And this one was done at around about 3,500 miles, I think. We've still got all the paperwork for that, which is really nice. well. The thing I like about these little Fiestas, the little 1.6 turbo engines, is they just feel angry and urgent, like it's an angry little hornet. It just wants to pick up and buzz at something very angrily. It's just a lot of fun. If you could see your hair. The nice thing about it though is it's not really raucous with this standard exhaust on it, but you can still hear a bit of turbo whoosh, a bit of wastegate noise going on, which is quite satisfying when you're driving around in traffic. Just again makes it that more fun and enjoyable. There aren't any kind of specific driving modes in this car, which is a bit of a shame. Again, it would add a bit more kind of drama to the whole thing if you could put it into sport mode. It doesn't have that, but it does have kind of traction control off mode, which will probably allow you to make use of your power a little bit more without traction control kicking in. When I first drove this, I actually didn't think it was that quick, but I think it's showing itself a little bit more through these lanes. You've got pretty much everything you could want in here: CD, radio, Bluetooth, hands-free, heated seats, climate control. It's even got cruise control, so if you were gonna be brave enough to take this on long journeys, it can be made comfortable. You're probably going to be bumping along the M5 quite a lot, but it will make it as enjoyable as it can be. But what this thing's really made for is lanes, racing, layeriness, which is what we'll try and do now. I honestly don't think there's anything much more fun than a hot hatch through lanes like this. It's definitely not as raucous as Dan's is, or I should say was, his 400 horsepower hybrid turbo version, but it's probably much more usable and fun in this at around about 200 horsepower, because really in a front wheel drive car that is this light, you probably don't need an awful lot more power, because his thing is quite a lot of work. It's quite handful to keep in a straight line, so I think this is a pretty good balance, to be honest. What do you reckon, Toby? What feels quicker from the passenger seat, this or the C63?
C63.
C63, fair enough. Loads more torque, but I bet you I could get away from a C63 through these lanes in this car. It's that light and kind of nimble and easy to handle. Maybe that's just my ego talking. So on the whole, I do really rate these little Fiesta ST180s. I think if you're going to get one, try and get one with as few modifications as possible. If you want to do modifications, that's great, but at least you know what's happened and you know it hasn't been abused and it hasn't been a track car or something, because these are immense on track. They're easy to get a lot of power out of and they handle really well, so keep an eye out for a decent low mileage, not highly modified one, much like this. Yes, you might look like you spend more time with this car parked at McDonald's than you do with it parked at home, but do you really care if you know that you've got an awesome little hot hatch that's really fun to drive? I wouldn't. Dan certainly doesn't mind. But then maybe because Dan has his part in the scrapyard more than anything else in its entire life, so it would be good if Dan could get his back on the road. He is working on it, but if he did, it'd be interesting to put one of these in a fairly standard form up against his and just see how big the difference is. Anyway, just a quick video. I thought I'd show you a nice bit of stock that we've got in at the moment. It's not all absolute crap boxes for 300 quid or whatever. We do have some nice stock at Borough Motors too. So thank you for watching. I hope you've enjoyed the video. If you have, make sure you give it a thumbs up. If you're new here, please consider subscribing. It's free to do, really helps the channel out. And if you're not, thank you for continuing to watch, and we'll see you next time. Oh, and in case you were wondering what this car scores on a vehicle score check, 908 out of 999, and they consider that immaculate. Make sure if you are going to buy a used car, do your vehicle score check, see what score that car has out of 999, and if you want to do a background check, you can do one. £3, £9, and don't forget, shifting metal 15, you will get 15% off. See you next time.